It's crazy being run by a country being run by people no one votes for.
Can you imagine growing up as a child and not being surrounded by different cultures?
A little racism sometimes, like they're saying it's their country and stuff like that.
If I was victimised in a country, I think I'd be the first one to be hanging on to the back of that lorry.
Since I was like 2 years old, I was in England, so it'd be not good leaving the country. I feel like I'm home now. I was born in Slovakia. When I was 2-3 years old, we came to Britain. I used to go nursery, started school, all the way through to college. A little racism sometimes, like they're saying it's their country and stuff like that. But still, when I explained how long I'm here, they was like, oh yeah, you're our brother now, so we don't want you to leave, like stuff like that. For me personally, I felt very bad because I got all my friends here, my friends are all English.
In the community, did you feel like at the time there was any kind of friction between the two sides?
Yeah, well, they normally look at you differently, like you're someone else, because you're not supposed to be here or something like that. But if they knew the whole story from the start, like how long I'm here since and stuff like that, then they would understand. The fear maybe is just maybe having to leave, which I wouldn't want to, because I lived here since I was a child and I got my friends in and family and stuff like that.
I voted to go into Europe and I voted to come out of Europe. When we had the referendum before we joined Europe, I think a lot of us thought we were just voting for a trade agreement. We weren't voting to be actually governed by Europe. And I think that's what upsets a lot of people, the fact that we don't govern ourselves anymore. A lot of things are overruled by Europe, and we are a country that follows the rules. If they say you can't do this, we don't do it. Whereas a lot of the other countries, I think, they say, all right, we can't do it, but we still will do it. I don't have a problem with immigration. A lot of our customers are immigrants and I'm quite happy to get along with them. And one thing I always say is if I was in their position, if I was victimised in a country, I think I'd be the first one to be hanging on to the back of that lorry and trying to get somewhere where you thought there was going to be a better life. And especially if I had a family.
Can you imagine growing up as a child and not being surrounded by different cultures? There's no diversity, you don't learn anything about anyone. Personally, I voted to remain. Young people are, in a way, I'm not going to say they all are, but they've got this idea fixated in their head, but that will mean these people that are coming in, well, they won't come in anymore. And their idea of the money being spent, that's all going to come back to us, but I don't think they see why that money is being spent. You can see the different attitudes, like from the French. We had French customers in here earlier, and even they were saying about how they probably won't come over as much. They used to come over every half term with their children, but they say now, then it will eventually, slowly by slowly, we won't feel a huge impact all at once, but slowly by slowly there will be, we will feel it.
I think the problem with Brexit is that everyone keeps talking about Brexit. I think people just want it to be done and get on with their lives, really. I think this is half the problem. People are talking the country down. Everyone always go on about is Brexit. It just needs to be done, and in 5 years' time, I think everyone will think, what was all the fuss about? We've got our country, but yet we're told what to do, how to run it. You can't even have Hoovers these days that are above a certain power because people that we don't vote for in other countries tell us to. It's crazy being run by country being run by people no one votes for. I think we could have the same relationship. It's just that the people on the continent want to blackmail everyone, don't they? They want to make it as difficult as possible because they don't want anyone to leave. It's just beyond childish. They're like none of these politicians act like grown-ups, do they? They're all like children, and it's the reason they wonder why people want to leave. There's a lot of Polish people in this area, but not there's a problem with that. They all work hard, all the ones that I seem to know. But I've not spoken to any that have said they've got a problem. I've got a good friend of mine who runs a really successful business in London. He's Polish, he's really successful. He doesn't seem to have had any problems since Brexit. I haven't noticed any real difference. There are so many other countries in the world to trade with and trade how we want. Like, you know, I think that's the way it is. There's so much stuff that comes in, like furniture-wise for me, from companies like China. You can trade with them just the same as you can trade with European countries. But, you know, I don't see how there should be a difference. You should be able to trade with Europe just the same as before, but be able to trade, make our own deals with the rest of the world. But I think people look back on it in 10 years' time and go, wow, I'm glad that happened.